going to go ahead and get started. So I want to first just thank everyone for joining us today and kind of give a little bit of context about this session before I hand it off to our presenters. So some of you may not know this, but for the first time ever, we did a collaboration with Stevie Awards. And today we're going to actually showcase some of the winners of those entries. So I'm going to just jump over here and talk through a little bit of how we set this up. So in working with Stevie, we came up with three different categories. They were exclusive to SOCAP members, and we could submit entries at no cost. So if you haven't done this before with Stevie, they do charge several $100s to enter for any of their awards. So this was a pretty special collaboration. The good news is that they've agreed to do it for one more year. And so we really wanted to host this event and educate our members on, how it works, who the winners were this year. They're going to share with us their actual entries and then how they went about submitting those entries, just so everyone gets a little bit more detail and can participate in the coming year. And I'll give more details about that at the end of the session. But the three categories that we had for SOCAP specifically were outlined here. We had the best use of technology in customer service, innovation in customer service, and then also customer service training and coaching program of the year. So we actually had several winners. We had several Silver Stevie Award winners, and then we had three Gold Stevie Award winners. So, like I said, today we only have time to showcase the gold winners, but if anyone's interested, I can connect you with some of the additional winners as well, and you can learn about their use cases. But if you're not familiar with how this works, once you submit, every single entry is reviewed by no fewer than five judges that are selected by the Stevie Awards staff. And then they rate you on a scale of 1 to 10. If you earn an average score that's 8 or higher, you will be eligible for a Stevie Award. And so it's pretty simple. And I did it myself, and we were lucky that Carhartt actually received a Silver Stevie Award for some work that we had done. I found that the entry was pretty easy to do, so we'll hear from the presenters today on their experience as well. So I'm going to jump ahead so that we can dive into it. So the first one I'm going to hand off to in a minute is Krista. And Krista, I don't think this photo is of you. I think it's your sister, I believe.
No, but this is a good time to clear this up at
Yeah.
SOCAP because
Yeah.
it's caused some confusion.
Yeah.
But yes, this is my sister Trisha receiving this on our behalf. I
Okay.
was speaking elsewhere,
Yeah.
yes.
So congratulations, because I know you weren't there. She was there to receive it in person. So
Yeah.
you're going to walk us through, your use case for technology and customer service, and I'll just hand it over to you, and you can tell me when to keep advancing the slides.
Okay. I do appreciate it. And I love that this actually came up because at the conference last year, I was unable to attend due to a boot cast, and Trisha attended. And I literally had people reaching out to me thinking I was walking by them in the hallway and ignoring them, but it's not. There's just two Hybels. We both do CX, and you'll see us both again. So,
Yeah. She
yeah.
did look a little bit like you, so it was confusing.
She
So,
got to swoop in. She sounds just like me too. So, yeah. So thank you, Angela. Thank you, SOCAP. This was a really amazing opportunity that you gave all of us as members to be able to partner with you and the Stevie Awards and to just have this experience. So, for a very long time, CH Consulting Group is very focused on value add that is measurable and organizational and technology transformations that are measurable. And so for our Gold Stevie Award, it is based on a use case that we had done for a private equity backed client. And I'm just going to kind of talk you at a high level through the case study of what the situation was. This is an organization that is backed by private equity. It's a total, I think today, of over 40 individual brands that are in what we call the home services category. So lots of private equity investment since I'd say around 2020, the COVID time, on things like windows, siding, HVAC, plumbing, a lot of private equity money going into consolidation of these more traditional mom and pop, very geo-limited services into larger umbrella organizations. And anytime you have acquisition merger happening Anyone on this call that has lived through that knows you are talking about disparate systems and processes and people and organizational structure. And anytime that you can look at an overall organization and do standardization and centralization, there is going to be measurable impact. So at the time that this organization approached us, they had a real hodgepodge or operationally. Were a couple of anchor brands that they had purchased that had more sophisticated customer service and sales teams. Many of the acquisitions that were smaller were still having calls and emails and web chats routed to the individual brand or office location. So there's at that point very little visibility into volumes and activity from the kind of measurements that we at SOCAP and in the customer experience world would be looking at. Numbers were pretty dire. Conservatively, abandons were running at 8.2. I think in some brands, it was impossible to even measure that. There was a very high inefficiency from a labor to volume management perspective. Because, of course, when you go in and you look at overall efficiency within an organization, you still go back, no matter how much AI there is today, it still goes back to people, process, and technology. And how do you line those things up to create the best customer experience and the best P&L for the business? That's the winning point, right? Efficiency internally without compromising the customer experience, which impacts top line revenue. And all the research has said this. So abandoned calls and even basic service level management is a problem. It's an indication of lead leakage or revenue leakage and loyalty issues and uncaptured revenue. And obviously, inefficiency within the workforce is going to lead to higher labor costs and overall costs per contact. So the challenge was for us to look at this very disconnected, everything very brand driven and territorial, right? Because even if it's not a multi-acquisition scenario, organizations that even are enterprise size and are very siloed can also benefit from standardization and centralization and automation. So the opportunity was to look at this not as a bunch of individual groups, but as a whole, and what and how would we remodel that in a way that would have really measurable impact and would address and improve some of these business measurements. And I do want to just say when we do this type of work, we'll do ROI calculations. So we conservatively estimated a $1.5 million in savings. And when I say that, they're not a 1,000 seat contact center operation. We estimated at the time that their headcount was around 100 to 150. So that is, it does not take, you can have 80 agents, 60 agents and benefit from improved people, process, and tech. And so there was an investment to get it done, but the ROI was clear and consistently came in at over 1.5 million. So based on that, we came in, if you want to go ahead and bring me to the next slide. We came in with a multi-approach, pronged approach to this. It got done in phases. It took about 2 years, and there was some stopping and starting due to priorities on their side. I think we could have got through the work much quicker. But it really started with, and this was a word about using technology. It starts with that CCaaS platform, right? They were on a vertically developed CRM dispatch tool that is very popular. That, like many companies, are saying they had contact center functionality and it just wasn't meeting what was needed by way of skills-based routing, agent assist capabilities. So the foundation of this transformation was the technology that would give us the right data to fine tune the processes and the resource management and optimization in a way to reach those end results. And that was really, again, a very people process tech approach. It always is that way with us. That is where I think you find your greatest return on investment. And so we went in, and as we deployed the technology, we worked on standing up some basic contact center best practices. There's often gaps in just good leading best practice training, in quality management and assurance, in workforce management and optimization. A lot of those operational gaps are driven from just not having deep contact center leadership experience. I mean, this is an HVAC, plumbing, electric organization made of 40 different companies now who had run a contact center to bring some of those operational best practices in. And the outcome of that entire overhaul, particularly based on the technology that was selected and implemented, had some very measurable improvements. If you want to go to the next slide, I think we share some of those. We're talking about from a cost efficiency perspective, a decrease in cost per contact by about 32%. That would have been even higher if we wouldn't have had a challenging outsourced BPO partner with some of that volume still going to them. We increased the labor efficiency by 64% or up to 64%. And the overall savings came in as we had conservatively projected at over 1.5 million. The savings were about 1.85 with all of the technology and best practices deployed. So I think they probably spent over the course of that 2 years on consulting services, support and technology, maybe a half a million to get that 1.85 in less than 6 months. So that is our story in which our application was based on. Yeah.
Congrats. Real quick question, Krista, too. Is your contact information, if you click on the QR code in the case study, is it out there too if people have questions? We're going to try to open up questions at the end, but just in case, I just wondered.
Yeah, I believe that goes out to the actual full case study on this.
Okay.
This was such a long thing. There's an ebook version of that. The private
Okay.
equity company did a case study, and I'm more than happy and always available to talk about any questions or details.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is not
Perfect.
an uncommon footprint. I will tell you that in the last 90 days, we have two more clients within this space in similar situations where between just labor efficiency and better workforce management, better technology, and addressing abandonment rates, we're talking about under 100 agents and over 2 million in savings. So
Okay.
this is a
Okay.
sustainable model. Yeah.
I do have a question for you, but I'm going
Yeah.
to stay true to my word and save it till the end. So
Okay.
I'll wait till everyone's done and I'll come back and ask you. But thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, I think you're up. So Eric Newman from Boston Beer Company, he was actually at the retail summit and was able to receive his award in person. So Eric, I'll hand it over to you.
Yes, awesome. And thank you again, Angela, for hosting the Retail Summit. It was great. Great to be a part of it. And I forget who said what to really make me laugh here, but that's probably the best photo of or smile that I've had in a photo in years. Because someone really got me with some zinger there. So thank you for that one. So as we dive in, Eric Newman, Boston Beer Company, and we had received the Gold Award in the Innovation and Customer Service category. And that one is recognizing new ideas and developments that enabled organizations to meet the needs of their customers more efficiently or effectively, leading to increased satisfaction and loyalty. So, as we were looking at this, what our problem was to solve, uh, you know, it was really looking at the program here, and looking at that was we, as an organization at Boston Beer, since our inception and since the first time our founder, Jim Cook, got a mailed in letter in the late 80s, saying that someone tried his beer and they didn't like it and that it sucked, he vigorously and started angrily writing a note back telling them they were wrong. I went, hold on. And it had that self awareness to take a breath, push that aside, and go, let me come back to that with a clear head. Because the company at this time was two, maybe three people. So he felt really attacked. He went back to it. He reread the letter and thought to himself, well, if I took the time to find the mailing address, stamp a letter, write a letter, send it to them, what would I want? You go, well, I want my damn money back. And so he pulled out his checkbook out of his drawer and wrote a check for the price of a six pack and said, hey, thank you so much. Appreciate the feedback. And here's a refund. Give us another try. So that really established our model for goodwill and reimbursement for any and all quality complaints and even some preference complaints when drinkers reach out to us. And for almost a full 40 years, we had always done that in the form of a physical check. Because we're a super highly regulated industry, we can't offer coupons or vouchers or even a gift card to a specific retailer. So we really had a lot of guardrails up within that. In COVID times and era, there was a lot of changes happening in the industry. Some of our brands were booming. Situationally because of what was happening in the market, but also because we had some great brands. And the team really took that step back and realized there's got to be a better way. The check process was long, tedious, allowed for potential fraud, a sheetment process that anyone that has ever dealt with even an ounce of an achievement process is a lot. So we looked at that of like we need to cut this down and how can we make this better? And looked to find a way to revolutionize how we reimburse drinkers within the constraints that we had as a industry and organization. And with that, we sought out a digital refund solution, end to end, fully integrated within our CRM system, and wanted an out of box solution to help that. We went to some places and they're like, yeah, you can build from the APIs. And we're like, no, we need, this is not our expertise. We want to have experts come in to help us be able to deliver that. So with that, the results and how we got there, we launched in July 2023. And since then, we're averaging 80% off reviews and over 50% card usage. And every year since that inception, those numbers have grown. So that's the average of those 3 years, but every year growing adoption. Our redemption time cut from 4 to 6 weeks from the time when we received the complaint from the drinker to when they actually got their check in their hand, to 45 seconds from they get an email, they have a link to follow, click that link, they have a card on their phone within 45 seconds or their computer screen. And the impacts to the business, while monetarily we still needed to do the refunds, we saved on postage, but we also have the other pieces that go into the technology. But the biggest aspects were reducing fraud risks, some operational costs, but really great resource efficiency, and across a dozen coworkers in 4 different departments, and including a signature for those Sam Adams branded checks, a signature from Jim on those. We freed about 240 hours annually. So a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of other things that you can get done in that time. So that was a huge, huge win in process for us. And that doesn't include any of the time, cost, and process savings of a shipment reduction, of stop pay reissues. Oh, my check got lost, or a lot of those Sam Adams checks that had our founder Jim Cook's signature on them. When we went through an achievement process, I was on the phone with someone like, "Oh yeah, that check's sitting on my wall. It was signed by Jim Cook. Why would I cash that?" And I'm like, "Come on, man! Like you can cash that digitally now, like mobile, but cash it, dude." So it was very amusing in that way, but it allowed for a safer, a faster, and more aligned brand drinker experience for both what the drinker expectation was, but also how they wanted to receive in a timely manner a refund and deliver on that promise that we had. So with all of that, as we looked at, our submission, I wanted to hit on this as well. We threw a fastball right down the middle. We went very straightforward with it. We did go written, no video needed. As I opened it up as the requirements to submit, I was like, "Are we doing a video? Like, what production aspects do we need to do?" If you have a great studio, use it. Great. But for me and little old me, it was like, hey, let's get this written up. So we did written, we detailed those challenges that we faced, and also provided some of the context around the industry and the struggles that we saw there. Because in the grand scheme of things, for a lot of us in the CX space, giving a direct refund or a refund to a specific retailer or online, or could be used in that way, or a coupon, isn't new, but within the confines of our industry and what we were able and allowed to do, it really was a big difference maker in that way. So, and even in the with the judging feedback, that was also a great thing that we got feedback from the judges panel after our submission, and that was something that they called out and heralded and like, hey, this isn't new to world, but this is new to industry. Additionally, the feedback that we received was also super helpful and insightful and allowed us to continue to find ways to make improvements as well. We compiled results both coming out of our CRM system and leveraged our CRM partner there of Amplify, as well as our digital refund provider and SKUX, and really worked with both of those vendors and relationships that we have with them to help compile some of those metrics. And we also had existing case studies with both of them, so we were able to leverage those and provide those as aspects. And who better to hear it from than drinkers themselves? I was able to grab two immediate verbatim right off the case, right out of our CRM system, screenshots here of drinkers' feedback to getting those cards and in real time that hey, it's been a long time drinker and I'm going to keep using it. And another one of like, it worked great. And I already picked up another pack. And that was the day after the day stamp on the Drake case was the day after we had sent him the card itself. So, really delivered on that promise. And, coming from, an old attic, office with one desk and a checkbook in a drawer, to be able to deliver this within 45 seconds from the time they click that link is incredible and really a great win for us. And
Yeah.
glad that we've been able to share it and uh, see the recognition for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I have to say, so this is the same category. Carhartt entered a submission and we got silver. So I was like, Eric, this better be good. But yeah, you delivered. This was pretty impressive, especially for your industry. And I mean, you said it yourself, the unique challenges that you guys have and being in the alcohol and the beverage industry space. So I love seeing this. I love really that you had just had a straight submission, nothing fancy, no video. You went straight to the facts. And I think that's a really important thing for us to share with the other SOCAP members. It doesn't have to be an elaborate video. And here, you ran away with the gold. So congratulations. That's
Yeah, I'm
nice.
sure maybe for others it might help, but we wanted all sizzle, no flash,
Yeah.
really give it to them the best way we knew how to.
Yeah. Very good. So we'll hold off. I'm sure some folks have some questions, but we got one more to get through, then we'll open it up. So thanks, Eric. And next we have um, the entry was customer service training and coaching program of the year. I think that's supposed to say best customer service training. The word best is missing from that, but
Right. And
Chip,
I brought the boss, our CEO, Bruce Belthori, to present. Bruce, you're on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Angela. And
sure.
like the others, we're very honored to be the first recipients of this inaugural award. And thank SOCAP and everyone else involved with the program. I'll tell you, when Chip Brody told us about it, I think you could have heard the whoops and the hoorays from my colleagues all across the country. We've really invested a lot of ourselves into training, and it's nice to have this validation. And in fact, we schlepped our Stevie Award, which is right here, to our call center campus conference in Phoenix last month, where we proudly displayed it. It attracted a lot of attention. And of course, I've been sleeping with Stevie ever since. So he's here with me somewhere. So for this presentation, I was asked to focus this. We'll go to the next slide. I was asked to focus on the problems we were solving and the goals that were achieved. So I'll dive right in. But I do need to note that ours is sort of different in that it's an elongated serial use case that stretches over 3 decades and involves multiple problems and solutions for training and coaching. So it's a little bit different. The first problems identified really came out of our benchmarking research project at Purdue University, started in 1995. And the benchmarking showed negative gaps that can hurt competitive position. And after reviewing these reports and seeing the problem spots, it was clear that training and coaching were among the biggest problems that needed to be solved for many centers. And there just weren't many tools and curricula back then. And so there were a lot of managers who were hungry for the kind of training that will be on point specifically for contact centers and would have the additional impact of providing employees with a common language, common lexicon, a common mindset, and a focus on behavior and performance that would lead to improvement and professional growth. So very much a situation in which the sort of the learning that was going on inside of the contact center on a professional basis was brought into what we were trying to do. So we developed a training program for AT&T, and it was called the AT&T College of Call Center Excellence. It was born and helped solve the problem of contact center management training. And during one of its reorganizations, AT&T asked us to take over management and ownership of the college, which we did. And we expanded the curriculum to cover all the levels of contact center professional, from agent all the way up to contact center managers. Now, at first, particularly back in those days, all of the courses were in person, which caused the next problem. Our curriculum needed to be made more accessible. And so we solved this by adding online, live online, and on-demand versions, which made the courses easily available to users around the country and around the world. So on this slide, all of this effort resulted in a learning ecosystem that includes agent certification. And by adding this to agent training, clients have found increases in employee satisfaction up to 10% and higher retention also. Supervisors are so important. They oftentimes are overlooked. People will take the best agents, make them supervisors, not give them the training they need, and they fail. So we wanted to do something about that. Also, workforce management certification, quality assurance, and coaching for performance. And in addition to this, I'll talk about this in a minute, Learning Channel Plus, micro-learning, which I'll describe, and also AI management certification, which was much needed. And our AI training aims to meet managers wherever they are at. And then also AI assessment reviews, which takes training to the next levels. So the next slide, we asked, did we achieve the goals? And what were the results? Well, our surveys of users indicate that we have achieved the goals. We have a 4.7 average course satisfaction rate, and that's on a scale of 5, and a very high level of clients who use the course over and over. So this program provided the industry with offerings that adhere to adult learning best practices and that impact employee performance, satisfaction, and motivation in a positive way, with the results that you can actually see in the numbers. And I'll spotlight two important initiatives which come under this, which identified other problems and came up with new solutions. And so if the next slide talks about microlearning. I think it's the one before that.
The one after.
Okay, that's it.
Is it this?
All right, there's one that's missing here, but I'll just speak to it. That's no problem. So the microlearning is addresses a real need, a real hole in the contact center coaching area. We developed a series of short educational videos for different levels of CX professionals, which focus on one topic each. So you can go to our website and access many microlearning videos for free. A key subset in this microlearning category is Learning Channel Plus, which was developed in the depths of the pandemic when we were looking for things to do, and when coaching was an even bigger problem. And it was aimed specifically at agents, improve their performance through use in training and especially in coaching. So the creator of these 5-minute videos is the contact center coach, my colleague Chris Thompson, whose voice is at this point recognized around the world. So we saw the need, spitballed a solution, used best practices. And so how did the solution work out? Well, just in the last few years, this channel has gone from 0 to over 10,000 subscribers who have viewed the videos over 8 million times. There's now close to 50 videos focused on topics like active listening, handling difficult callers, tone of voice, etc. And you can check them out for free. Then the next thing, and here I think you are on the right slide, is we early on saw that AI issues were advancing faster than organizations could adapt. And this caused huge angst and problems, still is. And there was a lack of measurable AI readiness and resources. People didn't really know where to begin and often got overwhelmed and confused once they started. So they needed AI training to help them out. And so we came up with that, and we also connected it to roadmaps for AI adoption and workforce preparation, change management, etc. So we developed the course and the programs to solve these problems and introduced the AI management course, which is currently available live online and in in-person formats. We also developed the assessment review, which basically helps people avoid the humongous problems that can arise in doing this work. I think we've all heard about the failures that are multiplying now of those people who've adopted AI and have had real problems with it, particularly when they don't do the adoption the right way. So the last thing that I'll mention is that we found a deep hunger for person-to-person interactive learning, and which we solved through call center campus conferences. A big way to, in fact, learn and have training and coaching. And so far, the results of the attendees, from the attendees, indicate that this has, in fact, been very successful. There's another slide. I think, what's the next one? Okay, that's just some of the comments from the judges, and which provided us with some very nice validation. So we thank you for this. And then the next slide is, okay, this is the summary slide, really. And so it talks about how we identified emerging industry needs, especially in training and coaching, developed the solutions to solve the problems for people in the industry, the courses, the microlearning, the coaching, and the call center campus. The results we got, which I reported earlier, which were high satisfaction ratings and return business, and this explosive adoption of Learning Channel Plus, and then did everything we could with regard to thought leadership and global accessibility, with focus always on doing what we always try to do, which is to discover best practices in the industry and share them with the people in the industry. So with that, I think there may be a final one, and thank you very much. I want to thank SOCAP again for this opportunity.
Okay, great. I do have a question. We can open it up for questions now. Right before I do that, I'll just say that, like I said at the beginning of the call, we did renew this partnership, you guys, and thank you, Bruce, for kind of closing us out. If you guys can all stay on, but wanted to make sure I let everyone know this. It will kick off again just next month. So I want everyone to be aware of that. We are doing the same three categories. Once again, we'll announce the winners at the Retail Summit next year, which is going to be in late April in 2027 at the same hotel that we had it this year. So just keep that in mind. We'll talk about it at the national conference too. But yeah, I'll leave that slide up for a second. I'll get the question started with Krista. I had a question for you. I was really curious because you referenced key metrics in your submission, your entry, and this one always I think is tricky. And I want to know how you did it for an entry like this. When you talk about the cost per call or cost per contact, when I talk about this with peers, I always find that companies are calculating this very differently. And I'm curious, how did you calculate it for your submission? And what are you seeing as
Uh,
the industry best practice on that?
I mean, honestly, we try to look at all labor and tech costs with appropriate corporate overhead allocation. But to your point, we collaborate with the CFO on how they're looking at it, right? So I'm not necessarily going to go in and debate, but I think as long as key labor and technology costs or outsource, if you're in an outsource model, and as long as you're looking at that number from a before and after with the same calculation, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
data is always a piece of this because, and I believe I spoke about this at SOCAP a couple years ago, like 70% of our clients think they have all the right data and it's the inverse. Like 30 do and 70 are missing information or there's integrity issues with it. So I think the bigger, so people and tech. You can get into how you want to do corporate GSA overlay on it, but generally, whatever is being allocated around the organizational structure to that function and the tech at a minimum.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, and that's how, we do it fully loaded as well with technology and labor, but I find that some people are looking at just labor, and I just wondered what your experience was with that too. So interesting to,
Yeah, that would be a labor cost per contact.
yeah,
That would not be
yeah,
inclusive from our perspective. Yeah.
right, agreed. Very good, thank you. Anyone else have questions? Go ahead and come off your mic if you do.
I did not clarify when I spoke that we submitted with a boring case study based PowerPoint, but if I knew I could have done a video, now I know. Now I know.
Now you know for next
Now
year.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised no other questions for the group today on their submissions or entry forms.
But doesn't anybody want to know how to get a free case of beer from Merrick?
Hmm.
Was this, I would be curious, was this the first time for each of you to submit an entry to Stevie? Or had you done it before?
No, it was our first time.
Our first time also.
Same first time submitting for any type of award recognition externally in this light.
Yeah.
Look at that,
And
Suzanne. We provided a great value for our members. First time for everybody. That's awesome.
it,
There we
and it
go.
was relatively easy. I will tell you, having gone into the website, they set that up and they set you up in the category, and and they're there to help as well. There is help online. So we used a number of attachments and also a number of links to support our submission.
Good. Okay, well, I think we can probably wrap it up a little bit early. Thank you guys all again for joining and agreeing to share your personal entry. I think Suzanne, will this deck, can we share this deck with all the attendees?
Sure.
Okay. We'll make sure that everyone gets a copy then of this, and hopefully you guys all planning to do an entry again this year?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a healthcare one I want to
Yeah.
submit.
Oh, perfect.
I have a feeling we'll have a lot more entries this year. So, way to help spearhead this, Angela, and thank you all of you for submitting and congratulations on this. It's just another example of who participates in SOCAP and who we are. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Suzanne. It was an awesome opportunity.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
Our
guys.
All right.
Congrats to everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the
Thank
week.
you. Congratulations. Have a great day.
Bye.